The great chamber of the Galactic Council filled with beings from 100 different worlds. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few looked like floating clouds of light. They all gathered around a massive, circular table that could seat 500 representatives. Today they were here to discuss something unusual, something that had never happened before in the Council's 3,000-year history. Humanity wanted to join. The Vraxian ambassador stood at the center podium. His body looked like a giant mantis covered in blue armor plates. His 4 eyes scanned the room as he pulled up holographic images in the air. Pictures of Earth appeared, spinning slowly so everyone could see the blue and green planet. "Fellow members of the Council," the Vraxian began, his voice translated into hundreds of languages at once. "We have completed our study of the species called humans. They sent us their request to join our great alliance 6 months ago. Since then, we have watched their transmissions. We have studied their culture. We have learned their history." Another hologram appeared. This one showed human soldiers standing at attention in front of a tall stone wall covered in names. The soldiers had tears running down their faces. "Look at this," the Vraxian said, pointing at the image. "This is what they call a war memorial. They build these everywhere on their planet, thousands of them. They put the names of dead warriors on stone and cry at them. They write poems about how terrible fighting is. They make movies showing how war destroys everything." A Catharian representative leaned forward in his seat. The Catharians were a warrior race. They stood 9 feet tall with muscles like steel cables and skin like red leather. This particular Catharian was named Drogath, and he was their greatest warlord. He had conquered 17 planets in his lifetime. "So they are cowards?" Drogath asked, his voice like grinding rocks. "They cry at stones?" The Vraxian pulled up more images. These showed human cities with parks and gardens, children playing, markets full of people buying food and clothes. Everything looked peaceful and calm. "Not exactly cowards," the Vraxian explained. "They seem to be a species that has been damaged by war. Look at their communications. They have something called the United Nations. Its whole purpose is to stop wars from happening. They write endless peace treaties. They give prizes to people who avoid violence. They teach their children that war is the worst thing that can happen." A floating jellyfish creature from the luminary species pulsed with soft colors. "Perhaps they have evolved beyond violence? Some species do choose the path of pure peace." The Vraxian shook his head, making his antennae wave back and forth. "No, honored luminary, they still have armies, but these armies are small, tiny compared to their population. And when we analyzed their military strength, we found something interesting. More holograms appeared. These showed human weapons, tanks that looked primitive, aircraft that moved slowly compared to council fighters, ships that could barely leave their own solar system. "Their technology is at least 200 years behind our own," the Vraxian continued. "Their weapons are basic, their ships are slow. Their defensive systems would not stop even a small council patrol. According to our military analysts, a single Catharian battle group could conquer their entire planet in less than 1 week." Drogath laughed. It sounded like an avalanche. "1 week? I could do it in 3 days." Other council members made sounds of agreement. Some laughed. Others simply nodded. The general feeling in the room was clear. Humans were weak. Humans were afraid of war. Humans needed protection. The Vraxian ambassador raised one of his clawed hands for silence. "Which brings us to the vote. The question before the council is this: do we accept humanity into our alliance? And if so, what should their role be?" A spider-like creature from the Arachnus Collective clicked its mandibles together. "What do these humans offer us? What resources do they have?" "Their planet is rich in minerals," the Vraxian answered. "They have liquid water in abundance. Their agricultural systems produce vast amounts of food. They have a population of nearly 8 billion individuals who could provide labor, and their location in the galaxy is strategic. It sits near the border of the Outer Rim territories." "Ah," said the Arachnus representative. So they would make good tributaries? The word hung in the air. Tributary. It was a nice way of saying servant state. A tributary member of the council had to pay taxes. They had to provide resources. They had to send workers when the council needed them. They had to support council wars with supplies and labor. But they got no vote. They had no voice. They were protected, yes, but at a cost. That is what I propose, the Vraxian said. We accept Earth as a tributary member. They will have no military rights. They cannot make their own treaties with other species. They cannot build warships without council permission. In exchange, we protect them from external threats. We bring them into the galactic economy. We give them access to our knowledge, slowly, as they prove themselves worthy. Drogoth stood up from his seat. The Catharian towered over everyone else in the room. And if they refuse? These crying, weak humans might not like being told what to do. The Vraxian's mandibles clicked together in what might have been a smile. Then we convince them. The council has methods. Economic sanctions first. If that fails, a show of force. A small demonstration above their planet would make them understand their place in the galaxy. We have done this before with other primitive species. Silence filled the chamber. Every representative knew what the Vraxian meant. It was the standard procedure. New species that did not understand their position needed to be educated. It was for their own good, the council always said. Better to learn now than to make a mistake later and face real consequences. The vote began. Holographic panels appeared in front of each representative. Green for yes, red for no, yellow for abstain. The results came quickly. Green lights filled the chamber like stars coming out at night. Out of 473 votes, only 12 were red. 23 were yellow. The rest glowed green. The Vraxian ambassador raised all four of his arms in a gesture of triumph. It is decided. Humanity will be welcomed into the Galactic Council as a tributary state. I will personally deliver the news to their ambassador. We will give them the terms. They will accept, or they will learn what happens when primitive species refuse the Council's generous offer. Drogoth sat back down, a cruel smile on his face. I hope they refuse. It has been too long since the Catharian fleets had a real target to practice on. These humans sound entertaining. I would enjoy teaching them their place. Other representatives laughed or made sounds of agreement. The meeting moved on to other topics. Trade agreements, border disputes, the usual business of running a galactic civilization. None of them noticed one small detail in the human transmissions they had studied. In every war memorial, in every peace treaty, in every piece of anti-war literature, there was a phrase that kept repeating. Different languages, same meaning. Never again. The council thought it meant humans were afraid, that they never wanted to fight again, that they had learned their lesson and would avoid war forever. They never considered the other meaning, the darker meaning, the meaning that spoke of a promise, not a plea. Never again would humans be unprepared. Never again would they be weak. Never again would they let others decide their fate. But the council did not understand this. They saw only what they wanted to see. A weak species that needed their guidance. A primitive people that would be grateful for protection. The truth would come soon enough, and when it did, the galaxy would never be the same. 3 days after the vote, Earth's ambassador stood in a small waiting room outside the council chamber. Her name was Sarah Chen, and she had served humanity for 30 years. First as a soldier, then as a diplomat. The transition had not been easy. Sarah looked at her hands. They were scarred. Burns from an old conflict covered her left palm. Her right hand was missing 2 fingers, replaced with synthetic ones that worked well enough, but always felt cold. She wore gloves most of the time to hide them. Today she had left the gloves off. Let them see what war really looked like. A chime sounded. The door opened. A small floating drone with a pleasant voice said, "Ambassador Chen, the council will see you now." Sarah walked into the chamber. It was massive. The ceiling stretched so high above her that she could barely see it. The circular table surrounded her like a wall. Hundreds of alien faces looked down at her from their elevated seats. She felt like a mouse in a stadium. The Vraxian ambassador gestured for her to approach the central podium. Sarah climbed the steps slowly. Her left leg always hurt when she climbed. Another old injury, a piece of shrapnel that the doctors never quite managed to remove completely. She did not limp, though. She had trained herself not to show weakness. Not anymore. Ambassador Chen, the Vraxian said, his voice friendly but condescending. Welcome to the Galactic Council. We are pleased to formally accept humanity into our great alliance. Sarah nodded. Thank you, Ambassador. Earth is honored by your invitation. The Vraxian's mandibles clicked happily. We have prepared the treaty for your signature. The terms are quite generous, I think you will find. The Council will protect Earth from all external threats. We will share our technology with you gradually. We will bring you into the Galactic Trade Network. All we ask in return is your cooperation and support. A holographic document appeared in the air in front of Sarah. She began to read. The words were translated into English, but the meaning was clear enough even through the translation. Earth would become a tributary state, no military rights, no independent treaties, resource quotas to be determined by the Council, labor conscription during times of war. The list went on. Sarah's hands began to shake as she read. The Vraxian noticed. His voice became even more gentle, like an adult speaking to a frightened child. I understand this may seem overwhelming, Ambassador Chen, but please remember, we are offering you protection. The galaxy is dangerous. There are species out here that would destroy Earth without a second thought. Under Council protection, humanity will be safe. You can focus on peaceful development. No more wars, no more suffering. Is that not what your people want? Sarah looked up from the document. Her hands were still shaking. She made no effort to hide it now. When she spoke, her voice was quiet, almost a whisper. You think we're afraid of war? The Vraxian nodded enthusiastically. Of course. We studied your transmissions, your peace treaties, your memorials, your anti-war literature. It is clear that humanity has been traumatized by conflict. You have learned that war brings only pain. This is wisdom, Ambassador. The Council respects this. Sarah closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them again, they were hard, cold. The eyes of someone who had seen things that would break most people. You misunderstand, she said, her voice stronger now. We don't fear war because we're weak. We fear war because we're very, very good at it. The chamber fell silent. Every representative stopped whatever they were doing and looked at the small human standing at the podium. Sarah continued, You looked at our memorials and saw weakness. Those memorials exist because we killed so many of each other that we built walls just to hold all the names. You saw our peace treaties and thought we were afraid. Those treaties exist because we created weapons that could destroy our entire planet dozens of times over, and we came terrifyingly close to using them. She held up her scarred hands so everyone could see them. I got these burns during the Third Border War. A small conflict by our standards, only 20 million dead. I lost these fingers to frostbite during the Arctic campaign. Another small war, 15 million casualties. And do you know what we call these? Minor conflicts, not even important enough to be in most history books. The Vraxian ambassador's mandibles stopped clicking. His four eyes fixed on Sarah with something that might have been uncertainty. Sarah pulled up her own holographic display. Images of human history appeared in the air. Ancient armies with spears and swords, medieval knights in armor, muskets and cannons, trenches filled with poison gas, cities burning under atomic fire. Each image showed the same thing: humans killing humans with increasing efficiency. We have been at war with ourselves for our entire recorded history, Sarah explained. Over 10,000 documented conflicts. We have invented millions of ways to kill each other. We turned science into a weapon. We turned medicine into a weapon. We turned food, water, and air into weapons. We created plagues on purpose. We set our own cities on fire just to deny them to our enemies. She zoomed in on one image. It showed a mushroom cloud rising over a city. This is what we invented 75 years after we learned to fly. A single bomb that could destroy an entire city in seconds. We built thousands of them. We pointed them at each other for decades. The only reason we didn't use them was because we knew that if we started, we wouldn't stop until our planet was a radioactive graveyard. Drogath, the Catharian warlord, leaned forward in his seat. His voice was no longer mocking. You are trying to scare us. These are just pictures, ancient history. You are primitive now, weak. Your weapons are basic. Your ships are slow. Sarah smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. Basic? Yes. By your standards, our technology is primitive. But you know what we learned? Advanced technology doesn't win wars. Will does. Determination does. The ability to keep fighting long after any sane species would surrender. That's what wins wars. She pulled up more images. These showed Earth's current military, the weapons that the Council had analyzed and dismissed as primitive. You're right that a Catharian battle group could reach Earth in a week, Sarah said, looking directly at Drogath. You might even reach orbit in 3 days, like you boasted, but you wouldn't leave. Do you know why? Drogath said nothing. His red skin seemed to have paled slightly. Because we would throw everything we had at you, Sarah continued. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier, every civilian who could hold a rifle. We would fight you in space. We would fight you in the atmosphere. We would fight you on the ground. If you took our cities, we would fight you from the ruins. If you killed our armies, we would fight you with guerrillas. If you occupied our planet, we would make every single day cost you blood. The chamber remained silent. Sarah's voice echoed off the walls. You saw our anti-war literature and thought it meant we were pacifists, she said. Those books exist because we know what we become when we fight. We know what we're capable of. We spent centuries trying to build a civilization that could control our worst instincts. We created laws. We created peace. We created the United Nations to try and stop ourselves from doing what we do best. She turned back to the Vraxian ambassador. You think you're offering us protection. You think we need you to keep us safe. But the truth is, Ambassador, the galaxy needs us to stay peaceful. Because if we go to war, we won't stop. We can't stop. It's in our nature. We will burn everything down before we accept defeat. Sarah reached out and touched the holographic treaty. Her scarred fingers passed through the light. I'll sign your document. Earth will become your tributary state. We'll give you your resources. We'll send our workers. We'll follow your rules. But I want you to remember this conversation. When you think about testing us, when you think about threatening us, when you think about showing us our place. She picked up the light pen that would allow her to sign the treaty. Her hand was steady now, no more shaking. She signed her name with clear, precise strokes. At the bottom of the document, she added a handwritten note in English. The translation systems picked it up and displayed it for everyone to see. We tried to warn you. 6 months passed after Sarah Chen signed the treaty. In that time, Earth paid its first resource quotas. Ships from various council species came to collect minerals, water, and agricultural products. The humans were polite, cooperative. They loaded the cargo ships efficiently and sent them on their way. The council was pleased. Another primitive species had learned its place. Everything was proceeding normally. Then came the day when Drogath decided to collect his payment personally. The Catharian warlord had been patient. He had waited half a year while the humans adjusted to their new role. But Drogath was a warrior. He did not like waiting. He did not like patience. And he especially did not like the memory of that small human woman with her scarred hands telling him what humanity could do. So he assembled a fleet. Not a large fleet by Catharian standards, Just 15 warships, heavy cruisers mostly, with thick armor and powerful guns. Enough to impress, enough to remind the humans who was in charge. His battle group could destroy any resistance Earth might offer in minutes. The fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. Drogath stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Bloodhammer. His officers moved efficiently around him, checking systems and preparing for approach. "Send the message," Drogath ordered. "Tell the humans we have come to collect this month's tribute. Tell them to prepare their cargo ships for loading." The communications officer, a younger Catharian with fresh scars from his first campaign, sent the message. A response came back quickly. "They acknowledge, Warlord. They say the cargo is ready. They ask us to wait in orbit while they bring it up." Drogath's lip curled. "Wait? We are Catharian. We do not wait for primitives. Tell them we will approach their planet now. If they have concerns, they can voice them while we collect what is owed." As the fleet moved deeper into the solar system, sensors began picking up activity. Earth's satellites were powering up. Defensive systems were activating. Energy signatures bloomed across the planet's surface. The tactical officer reported, "Warlord, the humans are bringing their defenses online. Multiple installations are tracking us." Drogath laughed. "Let them track us. What will they do? Fire their primitive weapons? We could take their best shot and not even feel it." But something about the situation bothered him. The way the satellites moved. The way the energy signatures spread across the planet in a coordinated pattern. It reminded him of something. A battle stance. Preparation for war. "Warlord," the communications officer said, sounding uncertain. "We're receiving another message from Earth. It's from Ambassador Chen herself." "Put it through," Drogath said. Sarah Chen's face appeared on the view screen. She looked tired, sad even, like someone who had hoped for something better and been disappointed. "Warlord Drogath," she said, "you're approaching with a battle fleet. Why?" "To collect tribute," Drogath replied, "as is our right under the treaty. Or do you humans already forget what you agreed to?" "The tribute is ready," Sarah said. "We told you that. You could have waited in orbit. We would have brought it to you. Why did you need to bring warships into our system?" Drogath leaned forward, showing his teeth. "Because you need to remember your place, human. You said words 6 months ago. Brave words, strong words. I am here to remind you that words mean nothing. Only strength matters. Only power matters. We are stronger. We are more powerful. Therefore, we make the rules." Sarah closed her eyes for a long moment. When she opened them, they held that same cold hardness from before. "You're going to attack us." "Not attack," Drogath corrected. "Educate. A small demonstration. Something to help you understand the reality of your situation." "Where?" Sarah asked quietly. Drogath appreciated her directness. "There is an island in your Pacific Ocean. Uninhabited, my sensors tell me. We will remove it from existence. A small price to pay for an important lesson. And then we will collect our tribute, and we will leave. Do you understand?" "I understand," Sarah said. "I understand perfectly. You're not satisfied with compliance. You need submission. You need us broken." "Yes," Drogath agreed. "Finally, you speak truth." "Then do it," Sarah said. "Fire your weapon. Destroy the island. Show us what Catharian strength looks like, and then live with the consequences." The view screen went dark. Drogath felt a moment of uncertainty. Something about her tone. Something about the way she had said those last words. But he pushed the feeling away. She was trying to unnerve him, trying to make him doubt. It would not work. "Target the island," he ordered. "Fire when ready." The Bloodhammer's main cannon charged. Energy built up in the weapon systems. Targeting computers locked onto the small, uninhabited island. With a brilliant flash of light, the cannon fired. The island vanished. A massive explosion bloomed across the ocean's surface. Steam and debris filled the air. Where land had been, now there was only churning water and a crater on the ocean floor. Demonstration complete, the tactical officer reported. The island has been destroyed. Drogath nodded, satisfied. Now we collect our... The entire bridge lit up with alarms. Warlord! The tactical officer shouted. Multiple launches from Earth's surface. Missiles, hundreds of them. Drogath stared at the tactical display. Red icons filled the screen. They were rising from the planet, accelerating rapidly. Not hundreds of missiles, thousands. Evasive action, he ordered. All ships, defensive formation. But the missiles were not conventional. As they reached the Catharian fleet, they detonated. Nuclear explosions bloomed in space. The electromagnetic pulses disrupted sensors. The radiation washed over shields. And in the chaos, the second wave arrived. These were not missiles. These were kinetic projectiles. Solid metal rods accelerated to enormous speeds by magnetic launchers. They struck with the force of bombs, but generated no heat signature until the moment of impact. 3 Catharian cruisers were hit before they could react. Their shields, designed to stop energy weapons, did nothing against solid mass moving at relativistic speeds. Return fire, Drogath roared. Destroy those launch sites. The Catharian fleet opened fire on Earth. Their energy weapons lanced down through the atmosphere, targeting the missile installations. Several sites disappeared in explosions, but more missiles kept coming. And now something else was happening. Earth's satellites were moving, changing position, and then they began to fire. Those are not satellites, the tactical officer screamed. Those are weapons platforms. They've been disguised as communications equipment. Laser beams cut through space. Particle beams followed. The satellites that the Council had dismissed as primitive communications technology revealed their true nature. Each one was a military asset, carefully disguised, patiently waiting. A Catharian cruiser exploded, then another. The fleet tried to pull back, but now Earth's actual military ships were launching. They had been hidden in the shadow of the moon, their engines cold, their systems silent. Now they ignited and accelerated toward the Catharian fleet. These ships were not impressive. They were not beautiful. They were ugly, functional things covered in weapons and armor. But they moved with purpose, with coordination, with the precision of a species that had spent millennia perfecting the art of war. Mining ships, someone yelled. Those are supposed to be mining ships. They were. Officially, Earth had registered them as civilian mining vessels for asteroid operations. Technically, that was even true. They could mine asteroids. They had all the right equipment. They also had railguns, missile launchers, point defense systems, everything needed to fight in space. Because humans had learned long ago that any tool could be a weapon if you were creative enough. Drogath watched his fleet being torn apart. The humans were not fighting with honor. They were not facing his ships in noble combat. They were using tactics, strategies. They were fighting dirty, using every advantage, exploiting every weakness. Retreat, he finally ordered. All ships, retreat to faster-than-light jump distance. But the humans had thought of that too. They had mined the space around their system with debris, carefully placed junk from old satellites and spent rocket stages. Moving through it at normal speeds was safe. Trying to accelerate to jump velocity meant hitting debris at high speed. Several Catharian ships damaged their engines trying. The battle lasted 18 hours. For 18 hours, the humans threw everything they had at the Catharian fleet. Missiles, kinetic weapons, energy weapons, even converted civilian ships loaded with explosives and set on collision courses. When it was finally over, only 3 Catharian ships made it out of the solar system. The Bloodhammer was not one of them. Drogath's flagship drifted in space, powerless, its crew dead or dying. The last thing Drogath saw was a human shuttle approaching his ruined ship. Through his broken view screen, he could see Sarah Chen's face looking back at him from the shuttle's cockpit. She was not smiling. She was not celebrating. She just looked sad. "We tried to warn you," her voice came through his damaged communication system. "We really did." And then everything went dark. The emergency session of the Galactic Council began 3 hours after the last Catharian ship limped out of Earth's solar system. Representatives arrived in a panic. Some were confused, others were angry, all of them were afraid. The Vraxian ambassador stood at the central podium again, but this time his mandibles were not clicking happily. His 4 eyes darted around the chamber as he pulled up holographic recordings of the battle. "This is impossible," a luminary representative pulsed in colors that indicated distress. "A tributary state cannot do this. They are primitive. We analyzed their capabilities. How did this happen?" The Vraxian pulled up tactical displays. "We are analyzing the recordings now. Initial reports suggest that we made errors, significant errors in our assessment of human military capacity." The battle footage played in the air above them. Every representative watched in silence as the Catharian fleet was systematically destroyed. The missiles, the disguised weapons platforms, the hidden warships, the desperate, vicious fighting that did not stop until the last Catharian ship fled. An Arachnus delegate clicked its mandibles together nervously. "But we studied them. We watched their transmissions for months. Their military was small. Their weapons were primitive. Their ships were slow. How could we be so wrong?" "Because we saw what we wanted to see," a new voice said. Everyone turned. An old Kelrath scholar floated into the chamber. The Kelrath were one of the oldest species in the Council. They had been part of the Alliance for over 2,000 years. This particular Kelrath, named Vesh, was their chief historian and military analyst. Vesh's tentacles waved slowly as he approached the podium. "I warned the military committee 6 months ago. I told them that humanity was dangerous. I told them that we were misreading the signs. They did not listen." The Vraxian bristled. "You said they might be aggressive. You did not say they could destroy a Catharian battle group." "I said exactly that," Vesh replied calmly. "I said that any species that builds memorials to remember war is a species that understands war intimately. But you all thought I was being too cautious, too paranoid." Vesh pulled up his own holographic display. This one showed human history. But unlike the quick overview the Vraxian had shown months ago, this was detailed, complete, horrifying. "I have spent the last 6 months studying humanity properly," Vesh explained. "Not just watching their recent transmissions, actually studying their history, their culture, their literature. And what I found terrified me." The first image showed ancient humans with primitive weapons, spears, bows, swords. "Humans have been fighting wars since before they had written language," Vesh continued. "Archaeological evidence suggests they have been killing each other in organized conflicts for at least 40,000 years, possibly longer. They evolved as persistence hunters. They would chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. Then they applied this same strategy to warfare." The images progressed through human history: medieval battles with thousands of armored soldiers, naval warfare with wooden ships, industrial warfare with trenches and machine guns, nuclear weapons that could destroy cities. "Here is what we missed," Vesh said, highlighting specific images. "Humans did not become peaceful because they evolved beyond violence. They became peaceful because they became too good at violence. Look at this." A chart appeared showing human conflicts over time, the number of wars, the number of casualties, the destructive power of weapons, all of it increasing exponentially until suddenly, about 70 years ago, the chart changed. Wars became smaller, less frequent, more controlled. "This is not evolution," Vesh explained. "This is restraint. Humans developed weapons that could destroy their entire species multiple times over, and they came very close to using them. The only thing that stopped them was fear. Not fear of losing, fear of winning. fear of what they would become if they allowed themselves to fight without limits. The Vraxian ambassador's mandibles trembled. Are you saying that everything we saw, all their peace treaties and memorials and anti-war literature, was them trying to control themselves? Yes, Vesh said simply. And we threatened them. We demanded tribute. We sent a warlord with a battle fleet. We destroyed part of their planet as a demonstration. We did the one thing that could make them release the very restraints they had spent decades building. Silence filled the chamber. The weight of what Vesh was saying settled over everyone like a heavy blanket. A young Vraxian analyst spoke up from one of the research stations. Scholar Vesh, I have completed the linguistic analysis you requested. The results are disturbing. Share them, Vesh ordered. The analyst pulled up more data. I analyzed human languages, all of them, ancient and modern. I searched for words related to warfare. In English alone, there are over 400 distinct words for different types of war. 400! The average council species has maybe 20. The Catharians, who are considered the most militaristic species in the galaxy, have 63. The analyst's voice shook as he continued. But it gets worse. Humans have over 2,000 words for different types of weapons. They have over 5,000 words for different types of killing. Their language has evolved to describe violence with incredible precision. They have words for specific ways to destroy specific things. They have words for feelings that only occur during combat. They have poetry about war that goes back thousands of years. Another researcher spoke up. I have been analyzing their military history. Humans have documented over 15,000 distinct military conflicts, not skirmishes, not minor disputes, actual wars with formal declarations, organized armies, and clear outcomes. The entire Galactic Council has recorded 11,000 conflicts in 3,000 years. Humanity has been at war with itself more than the entire galaxy combined. Vesh nodded sadly. And we thought they were weak. We thought they were traumatized. We thought they would be grateful for our protection. The Vraxian ambassador sank into his seat. What have we done? You have made humanity remember what it is, Vesh answered. For decades they worked to forget. They built a peaceful civilization. They focused on art and science and exploration. They tried to become something better than what they were. And with one demonstration of force, we reminded them that the galaxy is not peaceful, that strength matters, that violence works. A Catharian representative, not Drogath, but another warlord named Kreth, stood up. His voice was harsh. So what do we do? They destroyed our fleet. They killed our warriors. This cannot stand. The honor of the Catharian people demands revenge. Revenge? Vesh's tentacles waved in agitation. Have you not been listening? Revenge is exactly what we cannot pursue. Because if we attack Earth again, they will not stop at defending themselves. They will come for us. Let them come, Kreth roared. We will crush them. Vesh pulled up another display. This one showed Earth's current military status. In the 18 hours since the battle ended, Earth has mobilized its entire population. Every factory has been converted to military production. Every civilian ship is being retrofitted for war. Every able-bodied adult has reported to recruitment centers. In less than one day, they have become a full war economy. He zoomed in on specific data. They are building weapons at a rate that should be impossible. They are training soldiers faster than our projections said they could. They are converting civilian infrastructure to military use with an efficiency that suggests they planned for this exact scenario. How is this possible? Someone asked. Because they have done it before, Vesh replied. Multiple times in their history. The last time was during something they call the Second World War. In that conflict, which lasted 6 years, humanity killed over 60 million of its own people. But the significant part is what happened to their industry. One nation went from primarily producing civilian goods to becoming the largest military manufacturer in the world in less than 2 years. They built weapons faster than their enemies could destroy them. They outproduced, outfought, and overwhelmed their opponents through sheer industrial capacity. The chamber fell silent again. The implications were clear. "We cannot fight them," the luminary representative pulsed. "Not if what you are saying is true." "It is worse than that," Vesh said quietly. "We cannot afford to make them our enemy, because humans do not fight wars the way we do. They do not fight for territory or resources or honor. When humans fight, they fight to win. Completely. Totally. They will sacrifice anything, endure anything, destroy anything, and they will not stop until their enemy is no longer capable of threatening them." The Vraxian ambassador looked at the tactical displays still floating in the air. The destroyed Catharian ships, the efficient, brutal human defense, the cold calculation behind every move. "What do we do?" he asked. Vesh's tentacles drooped. "We hope that humanity is willing to talk. We hope that their ambassador was sincere when she said they tried to warn us. We hope that they will accept an apology and a renegotiation of the treaty. Because if they decide that the Council is a threat that needs to be eliminated, I do not think we can stop them." The human fleet arrived at the Council's capital station exactly 1 week after the battle. They came out of faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. 50 warships, not large by Council standards, not particularly advanced, but every single one bristled with weapons, and they moved with the precision of a species that had been fighting wars since before they discovered fire. The Council station was called Unity. It was a massive structure that orbited a neutral star system, home to the Council's government and military command. It had never been threatened, never been attacked. It was considered the safest place in the galaxy. Now it was surrounded by human warships, and every member of the Galactic Council felt very unsafe. Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the lead vessel, the UENS Determination. It was not the largest ship in the human fleet. It was not the most powerful, but it carried humanity's diplomatic mission, and that made it the most important ship in the fleet today. "All ships holding position, Ambassador," the captain reported. He was a young man named James Park, a veteran of the border wars. He had been born in space, raised on military vessels, and knew nothing but the discipline of military life. Like Sarah, he carried scars. Like Sarah, he hoped they would never need to fight again. "Thank you, Captain," Sarah said. "Send the message to the Council. Tell them I'm ready to meet." The message was transmitted. The response came quickly, too quickly. The Council was afraid. Good. Fear might make them reasonable. Sarah took a shuttle from the Determination to the station. She wore her full diplomatic uniform, clean, pressed, professional. But she also wore her medals, every single one of them. The ribbons covered most of her left chest. Each one represented a conflict, a battle, a war. She wanted the Council to see them and understand exactly what they meant. The shuttle docked at the station's main port. Sarah walked through corridors filled with alien beings. All of them stopped to stare at her. Some looked curious, others looked afraid, a few looked angry. Sarah ignored them all and walked straight to the Council chamber. The doors opened. The chamber was full, every seat occupied, every representative present. They had all come to see what humanity wanted. Sarah walked to the central podium. She did not climb it this time. She stood at its base, looking up at the Council members on their elevated seats. Let them look down at her. It would make what came next more effective. The Vraxian ambassador spoke first. His voice was formal, careful. "Ambassador Chen, welcome back to the Council. We have received your request for an emergency session. The floor is yours." Sarah nodded. "Thank you, Ambassador. I will be brief. The Galactic Council voted to make Earth a tributary state 6 months ago. We signed the treaty. We followed its terms. We paid our quotas. We cooperated fully. And in response, you sent a warlord with a battle fleet to threaten us, to destroy part of our planet as a demonstration, to teach us our place. No one spoke. No one denied it. Warlord Drogath is dead, Sarah continued. His fleet is destroyed. His warriors are gone. We did not want this. We warned you. We tried to explain what we were, what we could do. You did not listen, so we showed you. She paused. Let the words sink in. Let them remember the battle footage, the destroyed ships, the efficient, brutal violence. I am here today with a choice for the Council, Sarah said. You have two options. Only two. Choose carefully. She held up one finger. Option 1. Humanity withdraws from Council space. We pack up our diplomatic mission. We recall our representatives. We close our borders. We return to isolation. You will never hear from us again. We will not threaten you. We will not attack you. We will simply go back to our little corner of the galaxy and continue our peaceful development, alone. She held up a second finger. Option 2. The Council revises the treaty. Earth becomes a full member with complete military rights. We can build whatever ships we want. We can make whatever weapons we want. We can sign our own treaties and form our own alliances. You treat us as equals, partners, not servants. The chamber erupted. Representatives started talking at once. Some argued for option 1, others for option 2. A few wanted to reject both options and fight. Sarah waited patiently for the noise to die down. Vesh, the old Kelrath scholar, raised a tentacle for silence. Ambassador Chen, I have a question. If we choose option 2, what guarantee do we have that humanity will not use its military rights to conquer other council members? You have proven you are capable of great violence. Why should we trust you? Sarah smiled. It was a tired smile, sad. Scholar Vesh, I appreciate your honesty. The truth is, you should not trust us, not completely. We are violent. We are aggressive. We are very good at war. But we are also capable of peace, of cooperation, of building alliances that last centuries. She gestured to the 50 warships visible through the chamber's viewports. We brought a fleet here. We surrounded your station. We could have attacked. We could have demanded your surrender. We could have taken what we wanted by force. But we did not, because that is not who we want to be. We learned something in our history. Violence is easy. Peace is hard. Building something is harder than destroying it, and we would rather build. Vesh's tentacles waved thoughtfully. But you are prepared for war. Always, Sarah agreed. We will always be prepared for war. It is in our nature. We cannot change what we are, but we can choose what we do. And we choose to offer you partnership instead of conquest, cooperation instead of domination, peace instead of war. She looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of as many representatives as she could. But understand this, if you reject both options, if you try to attack Earth again, if you try to force us back into submission, we will not give you another choice. We will not negotiate. We will not offer terms. We will fight, and we will win. Not because we are better than you, not because we are more advanced, but because we will not stop. We cannot stop. When humans go to war, we commit everything. We burn our bridges. We sacrifice our peace. We become what we tried so hard not to be. The silence in the chamber was absolute. Sarah's words hung in the air like a weight. So choose, Sarah said quietly. Option 1, we leave and never come back. Option 2, we stay as equals. But choose now, because my ships are holding position around your station, and my government is waiting for my report. If I tell them the Council has rejected our terms, Earth will prepare for war. Full mobilization, complete military production, and the next time we meet, it will not be to talk. The Vraxian ambassador looked at Vesh. The old Kelrath looked at the other council members. Slowly, Reluctantly, representatives began to nod. Some looked angry, others looked resigned, but they all understood the reality of the situation. The Vraxians stood up. The council requests 1 hour to deliberate. Will you grant us this time, Ambassador Chen? Of course, Sarah said. I will wait in my shuttle. She turned and walked out of the chamber. Her footsteps echoed in the silence. Behind her, the council erupted into debate. 57 minutes later, the council recalled her. The Vraxian ambassador stood at the podium. He looked tired, defeated, but also perhaps a little relieved. The Galactic Council has voted, he announced, by a margin of 412 to 61. With 14 abstentions, we accept option 2. The treaty will be revised. Earth will become a full member of the Council with complete military rights. All tributary obligations are hereby canceled. Humanity will be recognized as a sovereign military power with full defensive rights and all privileges thereof. Sarah felt something in her chest relax. She had not realized how tense she had been. Thank you, Ambassador. On behalf of Earth and humanity, I accept these revised terms. But she was not done. She had one more thing to say, one more lesson to teach. Before this session ends, I want to say something to the Council, something important. You all saw our memorials and our peace treaties and thought we were weak. You were wrong. But you were also right in a way. We do fear war. We should fear war, because we know what happens when we fight. We have seen our dark side. We have watched what we become when we remove the restraints. She paused, gathered her thoughts. For thousands of years, we killed each other. We built empires on the bones of our enemies. We created weapons that could destroy our entire species just to gain an advantage over our rivals. We came so close to ending ourselves so many times that we lost count. And then finally, we decided to try something different. We built peace. Not because we were weak, not because we were afraid of losing, but because we were afraid of winning. Sarah's voice became stronger, more certain. We are peaceful by choice, not by nature. We have caged something terrible inside ourselves. We have built laws and ethics and morality to control our worst impulses. We created the United Nations and the peacekeeping forces and all our treaties because we know that without them, we would destroy ourselves and probably take half the galaxy with us. She looked directly at the chamber's recording equipment, knowing her words would be broadcast across Council space. To every species in the galaxy, remember this day. Remember that humans offered peace first. Remember that we tried to warn you. Remember that when you threatened us, we could have destroyed you, but chose to talk instead. Because that is who we want to be. That is who we choose to be. She turned to leave, then stopped. One more thing. But also remember this. We are only peaceful because we choose to be. If you ever force us to choose war, if you ever back us into a corner where violence is our only option, you will face an enemy unlike any you have ever known. Not because we are stronger, not because we are more advanced, but because when humans go to war, we do not fight to win battles. We fight to make sure the war never happens again, and we will do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. Sarah Chen walked out of the council chamber for the second time. This time, no one spoke after she left. They all understood what she had told them. Earth was a full member of the council now, an equal partner, a military power that could defend itself and its interests. But more importantly, every species in the galaxy now understood something fundamental about humanity. They were not weak. They were not victims. They were not primitive. They were dangerous. Terrifyingly dangerous. The kind of dangerous that came from thousands of years of practice. The kind of dangerous that knew exactly what it was capable of. The kind of dangerous that had learned to control itself, but could release that control if necessary. Within days, the story spread across the galaxy. The humans who destroyed a Catharian battle group, the humans who surrounded the council station with warships and demanded equality, the humans who offered peace but promised total war if that peace was rejected. New sayings appeared in alien languages. Warnings passed from species to species. Beware the peaceful species. Never trust a quiet warrior. The most dangerous enemy is the one who does not want to fight. And most commonly, humanity is peaceful by choice, not by nature. Pray they never change their mind. Earth's tributary status was never questioned again. No species ever threatened humanity again. The Council's military analysts updated their assessments, marking human space as a no-engagement zone except in cases of absolute necessity. And in the Council chamber, a new plaque was placed near the entrance. It was written in multiple languages, but the meaning was the same in all of them. Peace is not weakness, restraint is not fear, and mercy should never be mistaken for inability. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humanity hoped it would not need to teach it again.